For the first time in over a decade, Netflix is losing subscribers. The streaming platform announced over 200,000 subscribers dropped the platform from January through March. Netflix says it is password sharing and increased competition from other streaming networks that are largely to blame for the loss. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is calling on state lawmakers to strip Disney World of its status to operate as an independent governing structure around its theme parks. DeSantis has been clashing with Disney since the company spoke out against Florida's bill, which critics have called the Don't Say Gay law. With recent inflation making just about everything cost more, some are looking to move to more affordable areas, and Pennsylvania could be the best destination. A new study showing the most and least expensive places to buy a home labels Pittsburgh the most affordable housing market. It also names Hong Kong as the most expensive place to live. As the war in Ukraine causes more death and destruction every day, European countries are remaining reliant on Russian energy, gas, and oil. According to an article in the Boston Globe, those energy purchases have allowed Russia to continue financing their military, supplying an estimated $1 billion a day to Moscow. Reporter for the Boston Globe and the author of that piece, Jim Puzingera, is here with more on the complex situation. Jim, thanks very much for being with us. So European countries are reliant on Russian oil and gas, particularly Germany. Is there any scenario where that reliance lessens to the point where a ban would be possible?
Yeah, thanks for having me. The reliance, they're working on lessening it, but I think the biggest factor could be increased public opinion as we see more atrocities in the war in Ukraine. The Europeans are going to face higher prices. The countries like Germany are trying to reduce their reliance on oil and gas, finding alternate supplies. It's difficult. Natural gas comes in via pipeline from Russia, so they have to find alternative sources like liquefied natural gas. But public opinion, I think, is going to play a big factor here. If we see more atrocities coming out of Ukraine, that will increase pressure on these countries and reduce some of the concerns about a public backlash to higher costs for gas, oil, and other energy products.
So European Union leaders have banned Russian coal. Is that doing anything?
It's a small step. They don't get much coal from Russia, and coal is not a big source of energy in the European Union. The biggest hit would be natural gas and oil. Those are the biggest energy products coming into Europe, and those are the biggest revenue producers for the Russian government. That's what's driving most of the revenue coming in from the European Union, and that's where the hesitancy has been. So coal was sort of a small and easy step that they could take to show they're moving in that direction, but it's not nearly enough for what the sanctions are meant to do.
Well, Jim, here in the U.S., we've banned Russian oil and gas. Is that having any impact?
That's a small impact. We don't import much oil from Russia. We don't import any gas. So it's more of a symbolic move on our part to cut it off. Canada's done the same thing. But the biggest market for oil and gas for Russia is Europe. 49% of the oil exports from Russia go to the European Union. 75% of their gas exports go to the European Union. That's where the money comes from, and those are the sanctions that would really hurt Vladimir Putin.
Right, as you said in your piece, $1 billion a day to Moscow, an extraordinary figure. Jim Puzingera. Jim, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.